Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are wading directly into, well, what you could say is the single biggest hidden stressor in pretty much every relationship.
Money.
Money. It's the one topic nobody really wants to talk about, but, I mean, if you look at the stats, it's a leading cause of stress, of divorce, of all of it.
That's so right. And we've gathered some amazing sources here. We're looking at financial experts from Rachel Cruz, who really focuses on the relational side of things, to Vivian Tu and her work on modern social boundaries.
So what's our mission with this deep dive?
Well, it's kind of complex. We're not just talking about budgets. The goal is to get why financial fights are, almost never really about the dollars and
Talking about
cents.
something else.
Exactly. They're relational problems in disguise. So we're going to find the practical, really ironclad boundaries you need, both inside your relationship and, with the outside world.
And we're going to hit some real aha moments for you.
Hmm.
We'll get into how a simple allowance, what the experts call fun money, can genuinely save a marriage.
It sounds so simple, but it works.
And later, we'll look at why being unapologetically loud about your money goals is probably the most powerful tool you have right now, especially with how expensive everything is.
Okay, so let's start with that relational foundation. This is really Rachel Cruz's whole framework.
Yeah.
The idea that financial arguments are just symptoms. They're not the actual cause of the problem.
I think most people hear that and think, no, we're fighting about the credit card bill. The bill is the problem.
Of course. But what Cruz points out is that money, well, it touches everything, doesn't it?
Groceries, rent.
Groceries, your future dreams for your kids, retirement. It's this current running through your whole life. So if there's tension there, I mean, it's guaranteed to spill over
Into everything else.
into everything, communication, intimacy, all of it. The real sources of these arguments are these core emotional issues. It's a breakdown of trust, it's bad communication habits, or just feeling disconnected.
So if your partner hides a purchase,
The real issue isn't the $50 they spend.
it's the lie. It's the broken trust.
Exactly. And Cruz says facing that stuff, with grace and honesty, it's hard. But it's the only way you actually grow together.
And the data, it just supports this so clearly. We found a stat that says 41% of couples with debt argue about money, which, okay, that makes sense.
Sure.
But here's the kicker. 25% of couples who are completely debt-free still argue about money.
What?
So that just proves it, right?
Yeah.
The problem isn't just not having enough money. It's a lack of alignment.
Which is why these conversations have to start early. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're dating someone seriously, you have got to be looking for these red flags now.
Before you're sharing a mortgage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they will only get bigger.
So what's number one? What's the biggest red flag to watch for?
It's just avoiding the topic completely.
A shutdown.
Yes, the total shutdown. If you bring up money and they just change the subject or get defensive, that is a huge signal. It might be fear or shame, sure, but it also tells you they'll probably avoid any big, hard conversation later on.
That's a huge tell for future problems.
It's a massive one. And then, okay, then you get to the actual habits, the extremes.
We all know there are savers and spenders, but what's an extreme that you should worry about?
We're looking for habits that really start to compromise your well-being. The extreme spender is, obvious. They're living beyond their means, racking up debt. But the extreme saver, the financial hoarder, that's just as dangerous.
How so?
Because they live in this constant state of scarcity. They're so afraid to spend anything that they actually hurt their quality of life. They won't go to the dentist, or they keep driving a car that costs a fortune in repairs just to avoid a car payment.
Penny wise and pound foolish.
Totally. And that fear just limits everything.
Okay, so beyond habits, what about the more character level flags?
The third one is a lack of generosity. This is a big one. If someone isn't generous with their time or their money when they have it, that doesn't usually get better with more wealth. It gets worse.
So they'll be tight-fisted with their partner too.
Guaranteed. And then, number 4, this is the ultimate deal breaker. Your values don't align.
What's the difference between habits and values here?
Well, a saver can marry a spender. That's a habit difference. You can work with that. But your core beliefs about money have to match.
Give me an example of that.
Okay, so if you believe in living a totally debt-free life, you see credit cards as a trap. But your partner sees debt as just a tool, something you use to buy a nice car or go on vacation.
That's a fundamental conflict.
It's a constant corrosive conflict. You have to agree on the big questions. Is debt a tool for smart investments, like a mortgage, or is it for, instant gratification? If you're not on the same page there, the fighting will never, ever stop.
Right. So it's about that alignment. Let's say you're married, the spender and the saver. How do you stop fighting and actually start working like a team?
The strategy sounds simple, but it's really demanding. You have to stop trying to change the other person. It just doesn't work.
So what do you do instead?
You focus on structuring your life so you can work together. You create shared goals that have a little bit of what both of you value in them. The budget stops being a weapon one person uses on the other.
And it becomes a map.
It becomes a map to a future you both actually want.
Now, structurally, Rachel Cruz has a pretty controversial take on this for a lot of people,
She does. Combined bank accounts.
which can feel really scary, especially if you get married a bit later in life.
For sure. But her argument is that it physically reinforces that you're a team. I mean, legally, you're already sharing liability anyway.
Hmm.
She says that keeping accounts separate just encourages scorekeeping.
Like, I paid for dinner last time, you get this one.
Exactly. And that kind of scorekeeping just chokes the intimacy right out of the relationship.
But hold on, what about the people who say separate accounts protect their autonomy? They have their own career, maybe some inheritance.
And that's a totally fair point. It's a modern reality. You don't have to merge every single thing you came in with, but you absolutely have to have a shared operating fund.
An operating fund.
Yeah, a joint account where 100% of the money for your shared life goes. Mortgage, groceries, vacations, all of it. That forces transparency. It makes scorekeeping impossible because it's all our money paying for our bills.
Okay, that makes sense. A shared war chest for your life together.
Mhm.
But you can't just dump the money in and hope for the best.
No, absolutely not. You need discipline. You need rituals.
So what are the mechanisms for that?
Two critical things: communication rituals and the right tools. The ritual is the monthly budget check-in.
The budget meeting.
Cruz actually frames it as a financial date night. Make it a routine, something you do proactively, not just when there's a crisis. You sit down, plan where every dollar is going for the next month. It becomes this trust-building exercise.
And the tool to help with that is often a zero-based budget, something like the Every Dollar app.
Precisely. Zero-based budgeting is, it's intense. You have to give every single dollar a job before the month starts.
A lot of people hear that and think it sounds incredibly restrictive.
I know, but it's actually the opposite. It's a tool for freedom because it forces you to agree on everything up front. There are no ghost dollars floating around causing distrust. There's literally nothing left to fight about.
Okay, but if it's that tight, where's the breathing room? I mean, how do you stop from feeling totally oppressed by the budget and starting to resent it?
The magic key. This is why fun money is so critical. It's the psychological buffer that keeps the whole system from imploding.
So what is it exactly?
It's a dedicated, non-accountable amount of money that each person gets every month. It's built right into the budget.
Not accountable.
Totally. It might be $50, it might be $200, depends on your income. And you can spend it on whatever you want, no questions asked.
So she can buy the fancy coffee maker attachment.
And he can buy the video game, and nobody gets to say a word about it. It completely eliminates the guilt, the resentment, and the need for any secret spending. It's this one small freedom that makes the whole unified budget actually work for real human beings.
That is brilliant. It just removes all those little petty fights that wear you down.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've secured the home front. We have communication, shared goals, fun money. Now we have to defend all that from the outside world.
Right.
How do we set those external boundaries with, say, family and friends?
With family, Rachel Cruz has 3 very strict, non-negotiable rules. They are designed to protect the couple first. Always.
Okay, what's rule number 1?
Do not borrow money from family, period.
Ever.
Ever, because debt changes the relationship. You're no longer just family. You're a creditor and a debtor. It
Yeah.
complicates everything.
Okay, I can see that. But rule number 2, do not lend money to family. That feels harsh. What if your brother just needs a few $100 for a car repair?
It does sound harsh, but there's a really important caveat. You should not lend it. If you want to help, and you can afford to, you give the money as a gift.
With zero expectation of getting it back.
0. If you need that money back for your own security, if it's coming out of your emergency fund, then you just can't afford to do it. Because if you lend it, there's this unspoken tension at every single family gathering until it's paid back.
You're poisoning the well if you attach strings.
You really are. And the last rule is the most unforgiving of all.
Which is?
Do not co-sign any loans.
This one cuts right to the cold, hard logic of it all.
It does. Think about it. If someone needs a co-signer, it means the bank, a multi-billion-dollar institution whose job is to assess risk, has decided that person is too risky to lend to.
So if the bank won't trust them,
Why on earth would you? Co-signing means you are taking on all of their risk. You will almost certainly end up paying that debt, and it will torpedo your own financial goals. Your external generosity cannot come at the expense of your internal stability.
Those are some serious guardrails. Now let's switch gears to the other big external pressure, our social lives. This is where Vivian Two's concept of loud budgeting comes in, and it is so relevant right now.
It's brilliant. Loud budgeting is basically about normalizing conversations about your financial limits. It's about breaking that weird, toxic silence we have around money.
So being upfront with your friends about what you can and can't do.
Exactly. Two says, with the cost of living being so high, this isn't optional anymore. It's essential. The pressure to keep up is just too intense.
So instead of going to that expensive dinner you can't afford and just panicking the whole time,
You just say no, but you do it with confidence, not shame. And the key is how you frame it.
you frame it as a choice, not a limitation.
Yes, instead of, ugh, I'm so broke I can't go, you say something positive like, I would love to, but I'm saving like crazy for that trip to Japan next year.
Or that amazing $15 cocktail doesn't fit my budget this month, but hey, let's grab coffee tomorrow morning.
Exactly. You turn your financial boundary into an exciting future goal that you're working toward.
That completely changes the dynamic. You're not making an excuse, you're sharing a mission.
Right. And what happens is you get these positive network effects. Once your friends know you're saving for a down payment, they're way more likely to support you. They'll start suggesting cheaper things.
Like a potluck instead of a fancy
Let's
brunch.
hike. It actually builds a community around your goals, which is so powerful.
So having the confidence to say no actually helps you find the people who will support you.
It really does. And, the caveat here is that you have to be strategic. You control the dialogue. And if some people get weird about your boundaries, if they try to shame you or pressure you,
They're probably not the people you want to be spending your time or your money with anyway.
that's it. The boundary protects your wallet and your mental health.
So after all of this, what does it all mean? We've seen that financial health, it's not really about the math. It's about behavior, alignment, and building this kind of iron curtain around your financial life.
I think the key takeaway is that setting these boundaries, it's really an act of taking control of your future. It doesn't matter if you're dealing with a spender spouse or pressure from your friends. It all comes down to two things.
Brother.
First, transparent communication, which is what that monthly budget check-in forces you to do. And second, just the raw courage to say no.
Whether it's to a loan for a family member or just an expensive night out.
Exactly.
And that courage is so hard to find because we've learned the root issue isn't really the money.
Mm.
So if conflict is truly, as they say, the price we pay for deeper intimacy, here's something for you to think about.
Mm-hmm.
What is the one financial conversation you have been actively avoiding with your partner or your family or your friends? And before you even think about the dollar amount, what's the underlying emotional issue there? Is it fear? Is it shame? A need for control? Address that root, and the numbers will start to make a whole lot more sense. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.